In this episode, we're going to talk about one of the biggest strategic decisions every supplement brand has to make: Amazon or direct to consumer, or both. And before you think this is just about choosing where to sell, this is actually about choosing what kind of business you want to build. Because here's what I see all the time: brands treating Amazon and direct to consumer like they're interchangeable sales channels. The truth is, Amazon and direct to consumer are fundamentally different business models, and selling supplements makes this decision even more critical because of how people buy supplements differently. We talked about this in previous episodes. Supplements sit right between functional and emotional purchases. They require both convincibility and desirability, and that changes everything about how you need to show up in these different channels. So today we're going to break down the real economics of both models, the hidden costs everyone ignores, why supplement brands specifically struggle with this decision, and most importantly, how to think strategically about which model serves your business best, or if you need both, how to structure them so they're not cannibalizing each other. Okay, let's get to it. Welcome to Health Business Mastery, the Creative Thirst podcast. I'm your host, Bobby Hewitt. So let me start with something that's going to sound counterintuitive. The biggest mistake supplement brands make isn't choosing the wrong channel. It's not understanding what business they're actually in. When you sell on Amazon, you're in the volume game. You're competing on Amazon's terms, in Amazon's ecosystem, where buyers show up with high intent but zero loyalty to you. They're loyal to Amazon, not your brand. When you build direct to consumer, you're in the relationship game. You're building a brand asset. You own the customer data. You control the experience, and you're playing the long game of lifetime value. These are not the same business at all. And here's where it gets really interesting for supplement brands specifically. Remember, supplements require all four of the supplement buying forces to convert: desire, hope, trust, and belief. And these forces work very differently depending on which channel you're selling in. On Amazon, you're really only working with two of those forces: desire and trust. People show up on Amazon already desiring a solution. They're searching for something: joint pain relief, better sleep, weight loss support. The desire is already there. You don't have to create it. You just have to capture it with your listing. And trust? You're borrowing Amazon's trust. People trust Amazon. They trust the reviews. They trust the 2-day shipping. They trust the return policy. So you get to skip some of the trust building you'd need on your own site. That's powerful, but it comes at a cost. You never build direct trust with your customer. They're Amazon's customer who happened to buy your product. But what about hope and belief? The other two forces. Those are much harder to build on Amazon. Hope is the feeling that this specific solution will work when everything else has failed. That requires you to explain your unique mechanism, why your formulation is different, what's been missing from other products they've tried. And Amazon doesn't give you the space to really build that story properly. And belief is even harder. Belief is when someone thinks this will work for me specifically, not just for other people, for me. That requires understanding their specific situation, their past failures, their skepticism, and then addressing all of that. You can't do this in 5 bullet points on an Amazon listing. So on Amazon, you're working with half the equation: desire and trust. That's it. And for some supplements, that's enough. If you're selling a well-known ingredient that people already understand and believe in, like magnesium or vitamin D, you don't need to build hope and belief. They already have it. You just need to be the option they choose based on price, reviews, and convenience. But if you're selling something more sophisticated, a novel ingredient, a proprietary blend, something that requires education, Amazon is going to be really hard because you need all four forces, and Amazon only lets you effectively leverage two of them. Now on direct to consumer, you have to build all four forces yourself from scratch. Desire, hope, trust, belief, all of it. Through your marketing, through your content, through your sales page. It's harder. It takes longer. It costs more in ad spend to get people there in the first place. But when you do it right, you own that relationship. And that's an asset you can build on. This is the fundamental difference that most supplement brands miss. They think Amazon and direct to consumer are just different places to put the same product, but they're actually requiring you to sell in completely different ways because the buying forces you can leverage are different. Now, let's talk about the real economics because this is where most brands delude themselves. I see profit and loss statements all the time from supplement brands, and I can tell you the numbers tell a very different story than what founders think is happening. According to research from late 2024 and into 2025, direct-to-consumer supplement brands are reporting gross margins in the 50 to 70% range. Premium brands are hitting the higher end of that. Compare that to Amazon, where you're looking at 25 to 40% gross margins. That's a massive difference. We're talking about potentially double the gross margin on direct to consumer. But here's what everyone forgets. Gross margin is not profit, not even close. Because on direct to consumer, you're paying for all the traffic yourself, every single visitor, Facebook ads, Google ads, TikTok, influencer partnerships, email marketing, the works. Your cost to acquire a customer on direct to consumer for a cold prospect is brutal. And it's getting worse every year as ad costs keep climbing. Amazon, on the other hand, you're paying for visibility through their platform. You've got referral fees, typically 8 to 15%, depending on category. You've got fulfillment fees if you're using fulfillment by Amazon, storage fees. And yeah, you're probably running Amazon ads too. But here's the thing. You're tapping into existing search demand. People are already on Amazon looking for solutions to their problems. The intent is there. You're not interrupting their day with an ad. You're showing up when they're actively searching. So your cost to acquire a customer on Amazon is typically lower, but your margin per unit is also lower because Amazon takes their cut. It's a trade-off. And which trade-off makes sense depends entirely on your business model and your goals. Let me give you some real numbers to make this concrete. Let's say you've got a supplement that costs you $10 to manufacture and fulfill. You're selling it for $50. On direct to consumer, that's $40 gross margin. 80%. Looks amazing, right? But now you need to acquire that customer. If your blended cost to acquire a customer is $60, which is not uncommon for supplement brands in competitive categories, you just lost $20 on that first order. Now, if you can get them to reorder, great. Your second order, they're already a customer. Your cost to acquire on that order is way lower. Maybe just email marketing costs. So order 2 through 5, you're actually making money. This is the lifetime value game. Now the same product on Amazon. You're selling it for $50. Amazon takes their 15% referral fee. That's $7.50. Fulfillment by Amazon might be another $5 to $7 depending on size and weight. Let's call it $6. So you're at $13.50 in Amazon fees, plus your $10 cost of goods. You're at $23.50 all in. That leaves you $26.50, about 53% margin, lower than direct-to-consumer gross margin, yes. But you might have spent $20 to $30 in Amazon pay per click to get that sale. So you're still profitable on order 1. And if they reorder, Amazon Subscribe and Save might kick in, but you're also not paying acquisition cost again. See the difference? The direct-to-consumer model is built for brands that can afford to lose money acquiring customers and make it back on the back end. The Amazon model is built for brands that need profitability faster and are willing to accept lower margins in exchange for lower risk and faster cash flow. Now, here's where supplement brands get this really wrong. They try to play both games with the same strategy. They take their direct-to-consumer pricing and slap it on Amazon. Or worse, they undercut their own direct-to-consumer pricing on Amazon to move volume. And then they wonder why their direct-to-consumer site stops converting. Because customers find them on Amazon for less, or they find a competitor on Amazon and never even make it to the brand's website. This is where you need to think strategically about channel strategy. If you're going to be on both, you need a reason for customers to buy direct from you instead of Amazon. And that reason cannot just be price, because you'll lose that race to the bottom every single time. The reason has to be value, exclusive products on your site, better bundles, subscription options with real benefits, educational content that builds the relationship, early access to new launches, a community, something that makes buying direct worth it beyond just the transaction. And this is where the 4 supplement buying forces come back into play in a really important way. On Amazon, you're mostly working with desire and trust. Desire because they're searching for a solution to their problem. They already want it. Trust because Amazon provides the infrastructure of trust through reviews and fulfillment. You're optimizing for those 2 forces. On direct-to-consumer, you need all 4 forces working together. Desire and hope on the emotional side. Trust and belief on the functional side. You need to build hope through your unique mechanism. This is what's been missing from everything else they've tried. You need to build belief that this will work for them specifically. Not just anyone, them. And you need to build trust in you as the authority. Not borrowed from Amazon. Earned through your content and your positioning. This is why direct-to-consumer is so much harder for supplement brands. You're not just selling a product. You're selling belief in a future state. And that requires a completely different marketing approach than optimizing an Amazon listing. Now let's talk about customer data, because this is the other huge difference that most brands don't think through strategically. On Amazon, you don't own the customer at all. You don't get their email. You don't get their purchase history in a way you can use for marketing. You can't retarget them directly. They're Amazon's customer who bought your product. That's it. This means every sale on Amazon is essentially a new customer acquisition, even if the same person buys from you 5 times. From your perspective, it's 5 separate transactions with 5 anonymous buyers. You can't build a relationship. You can't do email nurture sequences. You can't offer them exclusive deals to drive repeat purchases. You're dependent on Amazon's subscribe and save program, or on them remembering your brand name and searching for it specifically next time, which most people don't do. On direct-to-consumer, you own everything. Email address, purchase history, browsing behavior, what products they looked at but didn't buy, how many times they visited your site, what content they've engaged with. This is gold, pure gold, because now you can market to them intelligently. You can send them replenishment reminders, educational content about the product they bought, offers for complementary products. You can segment them based on their behavior and send personalized messaging. One customer on your direct-to-consumer site is worth so much more than one customer on Amazon because of what you can do with that relationship over time. This is why savvy brands will actually spend more to acquire a customer on direct-to-consumer than on Amazon, because the lifetime value is so much higher when you own the data and the relationship. But here's the trap. A lot of brands hear this and think, great, I'll just build everything direct-to-consumer and skip Amazon. And then they burn through $1 million in ad spend and have nothing to show for it, because they didn't understand that direct-to-consumer requires a completely different level of sophistication in your marketing, your conversion rate, optimization, your funnel, your offer, your email marketing, your retention strategy, all of it. Amazon is more forgiving. If you've got a good product with good reviews at a decent price, you can make sales. It's not easy. Don't get me wrong. Amazon is incredibly competitive, but the bar to get to profitability is lower. The infrastructure is there. You're plugging into an existing ecosystem. Direct to consumer, you're building everything from scratch. And most brands are just not ready for that. They don't have the capital. They don't have the expertise. They don't have the patience. So they try it for 6 months, see it's hard, and then go all in on Amazon. And then they build a 7-figure Amazon business that's worth nothing when they try to sell it because they don't own the customer. They don't have a brand. They have a product that sells on someone else's platform. That's a very different asset. So what's the right answer? Well, it depends. I know that's not what you want to hear, but it's true. It depends on where you are as a business, what your goals are, what your margins are, what kind of products you're selling, how much capital you have to deploy. If you're just starting out and you need cash flow, Amazon might be your best bet. Test your product, validate demand, build some reviews, get some sales velocity, prove the concept. Then once you're profitable and you have some breathing room, start building direct to consumer in parallel. Use your Amazon business to fund your direct to consumer growth. If you've got capital and you're playing the long game, direct to consumer first might make sense. Build the brand, build the audience, build the email list, create something valuable. Then layer in Amazon later as a secondary channel for people who prefer to buy there. But keep your primary focus on owning the customer relationship. Or maybe you do both from day one, but you're very strategic about it. You have different product lines, your core collection on your site, exclusive bundles, subscription options, and then you put a curated selection on Amazon for discovery and volume. You use Amazon ads to drive awareness. Some of those people will buy on Amazon. Fine. But you're also driving brand searches. Some of those people will find your website and buy direct. And you track all of this so you understand the economics of each channel. Here's what I see working for the smartest supplement brands in 2025. They're using an omnichannel approach, but with a clear hierarchy. Direct to consumer is the priority. That's where the brand lives. That's where the relationship gets built. That's where the highest margins are. Amazon is the secondary channel. It's for reach. It's for people who won't leave the Amazon ecosystem. It's for validation through reviews and bestseller ranks, but it's not the core business. And they're very intentional about keeping the channels distinct. Different packaging sometimes, different offers, different value propositions. Your direct-to-consumer site isn't just the same products as Amazon. It's a better experience, better bundles, better education, better everything. Because that's how you justify people buying direct from you. They're also using their direct-to-consumer traffic to boost their Amazon presence. Think about it. If you're running Facebook ads and driving traffic to your site, some percentage of those people are going to bounce. They're not ready to buy yet, or they don't trust your site, or they want to check reviews. Guess where they go? Amazon. To search for your brand or the ingredient or the solution. If you're there, you capture that sale. If you're not, your competitor does. So being on both channels creates a reinforcing loop. Your direct-to-consumer marketing actually helps your Amazon sales. The key is making sure you're not competing with yourself. This is where pricing strategy matters. A lot of brands make their Amazon price lower to move volume. Big mistake. Now you've trained customers to wait for Amazon or to only buy from Amazon. Instead, make your prices consistent or even make Amazon slightly higher because you're not offering the bundles and subscription discounts you offer on your own site. Let people choose based on convenience, not price, and use your email list from your direct-to-consumer customers strategically. You can't email Amazon customers directly, but you can email your list and tell them about Amazon reviews or Prime Day deals or new launches that are available on both channels. You're using your owned audience to drive Amazon velocity when it makes strategic sense, like a new product launch where you need review velocity fast. This is thinking like a business owner, not just a marketer. You're optimizing for total business value, not just revenue from one channel. Let me talk about a specific challenge for supplement brands that makes this channel decision even more complex. Compliance. Amazon has gotten very strict about health claims. Very strict. And they should be. There's so much garbage on that platform making ridiculous claims. But this creates a real problem for legitimate supplement brands. On your own site, you have more flexibility. Not unlimited flexibility. You still need to stay FDA compliant. You can't make drug claims, but you can use more compelling language. You can cite research. You can tell stories. You can position the problem and the solution in a way that builds desire and hope. The two emotional pushing forces we talked about. On Amazon, you're in a straitjacket. You've got to be very careful with your bullet points. Your title, your A+ content. One wrong phrase and your listing gets suppressed or taken down completely. And then you're fighting with seller support for weeks to get it reinstated. This is a nightmare. So you end up with very vanilla Amazon listings. Magnesium for sleep support, turmeric for joint health. It's all benefit level claims, nothing compelling, nothing that builds hope. You're relying entirely on reviews to do the heavy lifting of trust and belief. And reviews are good, don't get me wrong, but they're not your unique mechanism. They're just social proof that the thing works for some people. On your own site, you can actually market the unique mechanism properly. You can explain why your magnesium is different, the specific form, the bioavailability, the combination with other cofactors that make it more effective. You can tell the story of the root cause of poor sleep, why magnesium deficiency is so common, how this addresses that at a cellular level. You can build the hope that this is the missing piece they've been looking for. You cannot do this on Amazon. Not really. So if your supplement requires education to sell, if it's not a commodity like vitamin C or fish oil that everyone already understands, direct to consumer becomes much more important because Amazon just doesn't give you the real estate to educate and build belief. This is especially true for supplements with unique mechanisms, novel ingredients, proprietary blends, formulations that are based on new research. You need space to explain this, to build credibility, to overcome skepticism. Amazon listings are not built for this. Your own website is. So when I'm working with a supplement brand and they're trying to figure out channel strategy, one of the first questions I ask is, how much education does your product require? If the answer is a lot, direct-to-consumer has to be a priority. If the answer is not much, it's a known ingredient, a known benefit, Amazon might actually be the easier path to revenue. Let's talk about the subscription model, because this is where direct-to-consumer really shines for supplement brands. Supplements are perfect for subscriptions. They're consumable. They run out. People need to reorder. This is the dream scenario for a subscription business model. On Amazon, you've got subscribe and save, which is fine. It's something. But you don't control it. Amazon does. They set the discount. They control the billing. They own the customer relationship. If someone cancels, you don't even know why. You have no way to win them back directly. It's a black box. On your own site, you can build a real subscription program. You control the experience. You can offer different discount tiers. You can add perks, early access to new products, members-only content, free shipping, a community. You can make people feel like being a subscriber is a status thing, not just a convenience thing. And you can use your subscription data to make your business more predictable. You know how many subscribers you have. You know their churn rate. You know when they're likely to cancel based on behavior patterns. You can intervene before they churn, send them a survey, offer them a different product, give them a pause option instead of cancel. This is real retention marketing, and it only works when you own the relationship. According to some of the research I was looking at, Subscription businesses in the direct-to-consumer space can achieve 30 to 50% plus net profit margins once they're scaled. Compare that to one-time purchases on Amazon. It's night and day because the customer acquisition cost is amortized over the lifetime of the subscription, and retention is so much cheaper than acquisition. But here's the reality. Building a subscription business is hard. Really hard. You need a product people actually want to reorder, not just a product they try once. You need to dial in the delivery frequency so it matches actual consumption. Too fast, and you're annoying them with excess inventory building up. Too slow, and they run out and go buy from someone else. You need a retention strategy from day one. Email flows when someone's subscription is about to ship. Educational content to keep them engaged. Surveys to understand how they're using the product. Interventions when you see churn signals. This is sophisticated marketing, and most supplement brands are not ready for it. They think putting a subscribe and save button on their product page is a subscription business. It's not. That's just a discount for recurring orders. A real subscription business is when the subscription is the entire business model. When you're optimizing for lifetime value, not first order revenue. When you're measuring cohorts and retention curves and churn rates. When you're A/B testing cancel flows to reduce churn. This is a different game entirely. And this is another reason why Amazon versus direct to consumer is not just a channel decision. It's a business model decision. Amazon is transactional. Direct to consumer can be relational if you build it that way. And for supplement brands, the relational model is almost always more valuable long term, but it requires more sophistication to execute. Now, let me address the elephant in the room. Brand value. If you ever want to sell your supplement business or raise capital or partner with a bigger player, the question everyone's going to ask is, what's your brand worth? And here's the truth. An Amazon business and a direct-to-consumer brand are valued very differently. An Amazon business is typically valued as a multiple of earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. Maybe 3 to 6 times, depending on growth rate and category and how defensible it is. But the reality is, most Amazon businesses are not that defensible. Someone can knock off your product, undercut your price, run more ads, and steal your market share. Amazon doesn't care. They'll happily take fees from your competitor. A direct-to-consumer brand with a real audience, with owned customer data, with recurring revenue from subscriptions, with brand equity where people search for you by name. That can command 5 to 10 times earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, or even higher if you're growing fast, because you own an asset, not just a revenue stream on someone else's platform. This is why some of the smartest operators in the supplement space use Amazon tactically, but build their brand on owned channels. They know that when it comes time to exit, the owned customer base and the brand equity is what creates enterprise value. The Amazon revenue is just gravy. It's nice to have, but it's not what makes the business valuable. Look at some of the successful supplement mergers and acquisitions deals in recent years. The brands that got acquired for premium multiples all had strong direct-to-consumer businesses. They had email lists with hundreds of thousands of engaged subscribers. They had subscription programs with low churn. They had brand recognition where people would literally search for them by name. That's what acquirers pay for, not Amazon seller accounts. So if your long-term goal is to build something you can sell, you need to be thinking about brand building from day one, not just revenue generation. And brand building happens on owned channels, not rented ones. Now, I want to flip this around and talk about when Amazon actually makes more sense, because I don't want this to sound like Amazon is bad and direct to consumer is always better. That's not true. There are scenarios where Amazon is the smarter play. If you're launching a new product and you want to validate demand fast, Amazon is great. You can get up and running in a few weeks, start running ads, see if people buy, see if they leave good reviews, see if the concept has legs. You're using Amazon as a testing ground before you invest heavily in building out your own direct to consumer infrastructure. If you're selling a commodity supplement where there's no real differentiation and it's all about price and convenience, Amazon might be the only game in town, because trying to build a brand around commodity vitamin D or fish oil is brutal. You're better off just competing on Amazon, where people are searching for the thing, and price is the main decision factor. Make your margins work on volume. Don't overthink it. If you don't have the expertise or the capital to build and scale a direct-to-consumer operation, Amazon is more forgiving. You need less marketing sophistication, less technical infrastructure, less of everything, really. You can start small and grow as you learn the platform. If your target customer is the type who only shops on Amazon and won't buy from unknown websites, you need to meet them where they are. And there are a lot of supplement buyers who are in this camp, especially in older demographics. They trust Amazon. They don't trust random supplement websites. For them, Amazon is the safe choice. So I'm not anti-Amazon at all. I'm anti-thinking that Amazon is a strategy by itself. Amazon is a sales channel. It can be a very profitable sales channel if you know what you're doing. But it's not a brand, and it's not a defensible business by itself in most cases. The brands that win are the ones who understand the strengths and limitations of each channel and use them strategically in combination, not in competition. Let me give you a framework for thinking about this that might be helpful. Think about your product line in 3 tiers: your core products, your hero products, and your sampling or entry products. Each tier might make sense in different channels. Your core products are your bread and butter. These are the supplements people reorder: your magnesium, your multivitamin, your fish oil. Whatever your staples are, these make sense on both channels. On Amazon for discovery and convenience, on your site for subscription and relationship building. Your hero products are your differentiated formulations, your proprietary blends, the stuff with unique mechanisms that require education. These should be direct to consumer first. Maybe Amazon later, once you've built the story and the market understands it. But you want to control the narrative on these. Your entry products are low price point items that introduce people to your brand. Trial sizes, single serving packets. These can work great on Amazon because the barrier to first purchase is low. Someone tries it, likes it, then searches for your brand, finds your website, buys the full size product with a subscription. Now they're a real customer. This is thinking strategically about product architecture across channels. Not just should I be on Amazon or not, but how do I use each channel to serve a different purpose in my overall business strategy? And look, the reality is most successful supplement brands over $1 million in revenue are on both channels. They're omni-channel, but they're strategic about it. They know which products go where. They know how to price across channels. They know how to use one channel to feed the other. They're not just randomly selling everywhere and hoping it works out. The ones who struggle are the ones who treat Amazon and direct to consumer like they're the same thing, who copy and paste their product pages, who compete with themselves on price, who don't have a coherent brand strategy that spans channels. Those are the brands that end up with okay revenue, but terrible margins and no real business value. So here's my advice. Start by being really honest about where you are as a business and what you're capable of executing on. If you're pre-revenue or under $500,000 a year, pick one channel and get really good at it. Don't try to be everywhere. You don't have the bandwidth. If you pick Amazon, focus on getting reviews, optimizing listings, and becoming profitable. If you pick direct to consumer, focus on building an email list, creating compelling offers, and dialing in your acquisition funnel. Once you're consistently profitable in one channel and you're past $1 million in revenue, then start thinking about expanding to the other. But do it deliberately. Have a strategy for why you're adding that channel and what purpose it serves. Don't just do it because you think you should. And think about the 4 supplement buying forces in each channel. On Amazon, you're optimizing for desire and trust. Make sure your title captures the desire. Make sure your reviews build trust. Make sure your fulfillment and customer service support that trust. On direct to consumer, you need to build all 4 forces. Your marketing needs to amplify desire. Your unique mechanism needs to create hope. Your content and positioning need to build trust. And your entire sales page needs to generate belief that this will work for them. This is just harder. But it's also more valuable when you get it right. The final thing I'll say is this. The supplement industry is only getting more competitive. Barriers to entry are lower than ever. Anyone can launch a supplement brand now, which means the brands that win are the ones who think strategically, the ones who understand business models, not just marketing tactics, the ones who build real assets, not just revenue. Amazon versus direct to consumer is not a marketing question. It's a business strategy question. And the answer determines what kind of business you're building and what it's worth in the end. So think carefully about this, because the decision you make today about where to focus and how to structure your business across these channels will determine whether you're building a real brand or just another seller in a crowded marketplace. And if you're a supplement brand founder or marketer and you're dealing with this right now and you want help thinking through your specific situation, this is exactly what I do. I help supplement brands build strategies that actually work for their specific market, their products, their resources, because there's no one-size-fits-all answer here. But there is a right answer for your business specifically. Reach out to me. Let's talk about what you're building and how to build it right, because the stakes are too high to get this wrong.